Hi, and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and today I will be doing my very first unhaul on BookTube. Let's do this. So here we are, my friends. My book buying has been at an all-time high, and I am a minimalist. I remember saying that in my very first BookTube video, and I want to maintain that. I don't want to hold on to books. I just believe in passing them along to other people instead of having them sitting on a shelf collecting dust and not being read. So here's my unhaul video for you. And I think before I share the books that I'm unhauling, I should explain to you the criteria for a book staying on my shelf. So I keep books that either have sentimental value or were gifted to me by someone. I also tend to keep books that, of course, have been signed by the authors. That's really important to me to hold on to those. I also keep books that reflect my identifiers, whether it's being like a West Virginian, whether it's being a Black woman, or what have you. If it reflects any of my own life experiences, I like to keep those. I love keeping classics as well. So those are the criteria for staying on my shelf. So you will be seeing books that it's not that I didn't like them, I maybe even loved them, but it's time to say goodbye because, like, what else am I going to do with these books? They don't really have a deep personal sentimental value to me, so goodbye. Peace, baby. The first book that I'm unhauling is Who is Ma Dixon? I read this book last year, loved it. It was a delight. It was a great thriller with some twists and turns and some humor. And yeah, it was also an Amory's book club selection. I think someone will enjoy it. Who? I don't know, but somebody. And I read Liberty at the beginning of this year. I believe it was actually the first book that I read in the year of 2022. And, it was It wasn't like a stellar read. It was a little bit of a disappointment, but it wasn't a total miss. But yeah, I think it will be a book that someone will enjoy for sure. And it's a historical fiction read. So people who are into historical fiction, I think it would be at minimum a 3-star read. I don't think it will disappoint historical fiction lovers. All right, y'all. I rarely do this. I rarely not read a book that I have purchased and then pass it along. But this one, I was like all about it when it first came out and it was announced as a Read with Jenna book club pick. And I just had so many other books that I was reading and wanting to read before getting to this one that by the time I could read it, I had already lost interest, and it is The Turnout. I am a former dancer, so any books about dancing, and in particular about ballet. I wasn't necessarily a ballerina because I started dancing at a later age. However, I believe in my heart of hearts, if I had have started dancing at the age of 3 or 4, I would have totally been a bunhead. I totally would have been a ballerina. My body just could not do the work anymore because I started dancing after puberty. So, how do we go from puberty to the turnout? Like, whatever. The point is, books about ballet studios, the ballet life, ballet dancers are really my vibe. And I was also at the time trying to get into thrillers and mysteries, and I thought, this is a nice mixture of things that I'm interested in. But I'm just not feeling it, you guys. And I think some of the Goodreads reviews totally turned me off as well. It was kind of like a 3-star-ish kind of read for a lot of people. 3 stars or below, so deuces. I very rarely give the side eye to a book, and especially on this channel. I try to love and support authors because, bless you, for putting yourselves out there, being vulnerable and sharing your craft with us. But the other Black girl, hot mess. Monet from Life as Monet did an excellent job of describing her reading experience with this book. I feel like you just need to watch that. There's really nothing else I can say. I wholeheartedly agree with everything she said. Don't let the door hit ya on the way out. Amory from Amory's Book Club is just amazing, and it's such an amazing community of readers. And this was one of Amory's Book Club selections last year, No Heaven for Good Boys. And this book by Keisha Bush is just phenomenal. It's so phenomenal. And Keisha Bush is, this is a debut novel for her. And I just loved how Amory wrapped her arms around her and was trying to show her so much love and support and encourage us to support this new and upcoming author. I'm a little torn about unhauling this book. This is one of those books that I'm not going to just donate. And that's an important thing for me. I love donating books, and I think that's a hugely important and significant thing to do. So I'm not saying that books I donate are like trash, but there are certain books that I literally want to place them in a specific person's hands. This is one of those books for me. I can already think of some of my friends and book-loving friends that I know will enjoy this book as much, if not more, than I did. And so, yeah, this is a book that's going to go in someone's hands and be attached with a hug. All right, so I've had this book for like only a few months and loved it. You guys have seen it on my channel if you've been on my channel for a while. I hope this finds you well. Poems by Kate Baer. There's no reason for me to say that I'm getting rid of this book other than shelf space. Not that it was taking up that much space, but it's all good. Like, I just think it's time to let it go. It was one of those reads that I wanted to savor, and it was a moment in time, and I just don't want to repeat the moment. So, goodbye. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This was interesting. I believe it is a very much hyped book that was fine. I read it for the Rafa University Alumni Virtual Book Club, and that experience was what I enjoyed about this book more than the book itself. The book was fine. I enjoyed it. I just don't have an interest in reading the sequel or continuing on with this series. I think it will be a book that someone will enjoy, and I'm looking forward to passing it along, and maybe a younger reader will enjoy it more than I did. No one is talking about this, including me. I am not talking about this book other than to say good riddance. Amory. She did it again with this book selection for her book club, Pure Color by Sheila Heti. This book really stretched me in so many ways, emotionally, intellectually. It was so profound. It was a surprise. Favorite read of mine this year. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. And so this is another book that I'm going to place in someone's hands. I'm not going to just drop it off somewhere. It's really good. But I definitely think you have to be a certain kind of reader to enjoy this. Someone that is a book lover through and through, because it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. I'm not saying the words correctly, so let me be. Okay, Smile, The Story of a Face by Sarah Roll. Oh my goodness. I did a Bookstagram reel playing Michael Jackson's version of the song Smile. There's something about this cover, this story that, for obvious reasons, the title, but it connects me to that song so much. I loved this book, and I'm actually on the fence. This book may just stay. Yeah. You know what? I'm not a rereader, but this is one of the few books that I am entertaining the idea of rereading. So I'm keeping this book. And then there was The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. This was my very first fantasy book that I really can recall. And I remember being scared about trying fantasy, but really wanting to try it. And so Monet over at Life as Monet suggested an N.K. Jemisin book. This was a lot. I ended up enjoying it, but not so much so that I'm interested in reading the sequel or any more fantasy anytime soon. But it was a cool experience. I can't complain. So it's time to let it go. Bewilderment by Richard Powers. So he has a book called The Overstory. That's a best-selling novel. I have not read that. This was my very first Richard Powers book, and Oprah made me do it. It was an Oprah's Book Club selection, and indeed it was quite the experience. So this book gave me all the feels. I enjoyed the emotional journey of following the days in the life of a father and son who had lost their wife/mother, and the son is living with autism, and how that experience meshes with the experience of loss and pain. It was gripping. And the ending, y'all, like, this book needs to go in someone's hands. It is incredible. All right, we got 3 more. And next we have The Embassy, or what is it? Oh, Embassy Wife. Does that let you know how forgettable this book was? Yowza. So yeah, this is a book that my in-person book club had selected for a read earlier this year. I read most of it and then completed it via audiobook. It's fine. It wasn't dynamic. It wasn't amazing. A little forgettable. It was entertaining. It was okay. So I'm looking forward to making room on my shelf by getting rid of it. Bye-bye. Oh my goodness. I read this book earlier in the year of 2021. Outlawed was amazing. I love anything that gives me country western vibes, being from West Virginia. And it was also about empowerment and feminism and, you know, so many things that I just was really appealing to me. And so this book truly delivered. It's a Reese's Book Club selection. I found it to be so entertaining, so moving, so intriguing, also very much like an educational experience. You learn a lot about the time, the era, and what that era was like for women. So love it, and it's time to say goodbye. And finally, this book that I'm unhauling is a book that's near and dear to my heart. I read it earlier this year for Amory's book club, and it's one of those books that I love so much and is such an important book that I want to pass it along to other people. And it is This Boy We Made, a memoir of motherhood, genetics, and facing the unknown by Taylor Harris. The author is an incredible woman, an incredible mother, an incredible author. And I found this book to be one that is not meant for you to keep on your shelf. It's meant for you to pass it on to other mothers, to educators, to people who work in the medical field. This is a book that I think just helps us to see the humanity in each other and helps us to reach outside of our own experiences, leaning into the experiences of others in a way that brings up on us empathy and compassion. And, you know, I would be remiss if I were to just leave this on my shelf. I want to pass this along to some of my educator friends, and maybe even some moms too. So I'm hoping that this book gets a lot of love and a lot of reading by a lot of different people. Okay, that was a lot of books, and I'm so grateful to you for spending your time with me. Let me know what books you are unhauling. Let me know if there were any books that I'm unhauling that you're interested in reading. You know, maybe I'll be able to ship some to you. I don't know. Let's just keep this conversation going. And if you want to see the reason why I had to unhaul these books and make room for new books, check out this video. It is my vlog on the Pittsburgh Festival of Books, and I got quite a few books at that festival. So Check it out, and until next time, happy reading. Bye.